creating a trading plan. You've went through the course now and you've understood a few of the concepts that I talk about every day with the 15-minute range, the bull flag, the bear flag, the pivot points, the VWAP. You got it all figured out now. So now it's time. It's time to come up with a trading plan. And this is going to come down to a couple different things. Number one, what's your maximum risk in your target, kind of profit target for the day? What is your normal trading hours? Are you able to trade from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m.? Do you trade overnight? Do you trade certain, different hours depending on your job scheduling? And then also, let's talk about what you're going to trade. Are you trading the ES? Are you trading the NASDAQ? Both the ES and the NASDAQ give plenty of opportunities. The ES itself is going to be a little slower, not as volatile, not as crazy. With the NASDAQ, you can start out with the NASDAQ, start out with the ES. If you're a beginner, probably the best thing to do is start out with the ES, but let's talk simply about a trading plan. What do you need for a trading plan to be successful? So we basically know that you cannot allow yourself to lose more than you're making, and you've got to be able to identify solid setups. You need to have patience. You need to have a plan in general. Having a plan is going to allow you to stop out of a loser. It's going to allow you to take profit. It's going to remove a lot of the emotions. It's going to remove the FOMO. It's going to remove a lot of the stuff that is the kryptonite for a lot of new traders. Because guess what? You have a plan. You got to follow the plan. Remember, you got to follow the plan. Just because you have a plan doesn't mean, it's guaranteed until you start following it. So, for example, let's play with the 15-minute range trade plan in general. So the market opens up here at 9:30, obviously. All right, the market just opened. We're starting to get our first candles to form. We've got our 15-minute range coming up here. Right there, we've got the 945 print. So that's our opening range. We have the low of our opening range, the high of our opening range. Right, so we got all that going on. We've got some support here from the overnight 19,116s. We got that high up there. So let's say I have a 2-to-1 risk to reward strategy. I'm trading 2 contracts. What is my trading plan now that we've got our opening range? So I obviously want to look for a 2-to-1 risk to reward, meaning I want to only risk, let's say I want to risk $200 to make $400 on this trade. So now that I've got my plan, got my highs, my lows, I got the VWAP right there, I got the pivot point to the downside. I am now looking to see if we get a nice break to the downside here. So let's say, looks like we're gonna break to the downside. Let's just go for it. I'm gonna put on a long short position here, right? So I'm gonna put on a short. I'm gonna short right here at the break of this 15-minute range with a stop. Right, so I'm risking right there off that high 147 for a possible move down here. My risk reward right there is 2, so I need to move down there to the 40. Got my plan all set up. Let's see if this works out. I don't even know if this actually works out, even though it's replay. I don't know exactly if this popped back up or if it went down, but let's see. So I've got my plan, got my 15-minute range. I got my stop above the high of these candles right there. I can see that those candles have been getting stuck. Now I'm looking for a move down, and I've got a 2-to-1 risk reward from the 110s down there to the 33s. And let's see if this works out. And would you look at that? The trade plan worked out beautifully. I took my risk. I had my stop above the high of these candles. I had my target down here. I probably could have went a little lower, especially since we had that pivot point down there. If I look at the bigger time frame hourly chart, kind of go to the left here, I can see there's some support. 18,966 back there. So 18,966. If we go back over here to the 2-minute chart and I look at my entry now, that 866 is all the way down here. Would be the next like 1 hour bounce area. So let's see how this kind of keeps going. We already got our 2-to-1 risk reward. I just want to see how this plays out. But look at this. Oh Lord. Oh Lord. Oh Lord. All right, let's just say you got this move down to the pivot. How much would that have been? That would have been 4-to-1. Down to here, it would have been almost 6-to-1. I think I might have actually been a little low there. Let me see. Go back to the hourly chart here. Hourly chart, there's some support there, 860s. 860s there on the hourly chart. That's exactly where it bounced at and pushed right back up there. So going back to the idea, the plan, what you have there, the plan was simple. We had our 15-minute range. We had our stop. We had our profit target. We knew that if it did push back up above the high of these candles, I'm going to get out. I could always re-enter the trade. We had our break to the downside there. We broke the 15-minute range. We sold down so beautifully from the 120s down to there. So going back, what are the keys to a trading plan? You got to have a good overall risk reward, at least 1-to-1. 2-to-1 should be your aim. You want to aim for that 2-to-1 risk reward, meaning that if you're going to risk $100, you're going to make $200. Meaning that if you're going to risk $1,000, you're going to make $2,000. The nice thing, I think, about when you first start out trading, the best or the kind of tip here that you should do is try to trade with 2 contracts, right? Try to trade with 2 contracts. See how this plays out. So let's say you, like I said, we entered for a 2-to-1, right? So we're short here for our 2-to-1 setup. Now we have our target right there, the high of those candles. We're short. So if I trade with 2 contracts, I can put my first cover. I can cover 1 contract there at the 62s. And I can let that run. I can let the final contract run and try to double that risk reward. So now I've doubled my risk reward and I'm locking in profit down here for almost 5-to-1. So 4-to-1, 5-to-1, almost double what it was there. So when you first start out, you can trade with the micros. You could trade, 1 or 2 micro contracts, small risk. And that allows you to really kind of build up that muscle memory, that mental memory of entering a trade, having confidence, having, patience. The nice thing about trading with like 2 contracts as well with the micros is if you get into a trade and it works out in your favor, you can lock in profit. You can get that confidence boost because you're like, hey, I locked in profit. I got my 2-to-1 and then I got more. I can then move my stop loss down. I can move it down here and if it starts to sell, I took off some profit. I can move my stop loss kind of following the move down and just kind of keep moving my stop loss to the high of these candles, kind of moving my stop loss. And then, I probably get stopped out right there. But from the 60s to the 20s, that's another 40 points. That's free money. It's great. We had the pivot point down there as well. So something to target on the chart. Having a plan where you're looking for a target based on the pivot points, the VWAP, certain levels of liquidity and all that fun stuff, building up that plan. And then now what we're trying to do is trying to repeat that over and over and over. Do it 100 times. If my win-loss ratio is 60%, 50%, and I do this 100 times, and I've got a 1-to-1 risk reward, a 1-to-2 risk reward, I will be green over 100 trades. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to have losing trades. The best thing you can do is cut off your losers quickly, take profit, and then repeat. Repeat, do it again. Take profit, cut it off quickly, repeat. Cut it off quickly, repeat. Cut it off quickly, repeat. It's okay to get a loss. It's okay to have back-to-back losses. Sometimes the market's just not hot. That's part of your trading plan as well. You got to have your max loss for the day. If your best normal profit day, like on a good day, is you're making $500, well, your maximum loss, the most that you could possibly lose is $500 max. But you obviously want that to be smaller. You'd like it to be $250. You'd like it to be different. But in general, you don't want to lose more than you win. So that should be part of your trading plan. You can set it so that you stop trading at a certain time as well. For me personally, I like to walk away at 11 o'clock because I'm like, okay, I'm done. That's normally when the market will start to consolidate or kind of be done after that big move from 9 a.m. till 11 a.m. And at that point, the volume starts slowing down. And I've found that trying to trade all day for me personally isn't the best idea. So I like to cut it off. That's part of my trading plan. You know, having different parameters to your trades. Like, I'm not going to take a trade unless I see that happen. I'm not going to do this unless I see this happen. Having rules, having your trading plan being very simple and laid out so that you can understand it. I mean, you wrote it, right? You should know it by heart, but understanding your trading plan so that when you go into a trade, you're like, okay, there's no emotion, there's no feelings. I'm just like, I'm in a trade. I've taken the trade. I've taken responsibility for it. I know that there's a possibility I might get stopped out. I've got my stop. I've got my target. I've got my trade. That's all I need to do, right? Bang, bang, bang. It's not rocket science. It's a trading plan. And again, you're going to have losers. I cannot stress that enough. Every trading plan has a stop loss built into it, right? Every trading plan, you're like, okay, I know that there's a chance I'm going to have a loser. It's okay. As long as I cut off my loser inside of my trading plan, then that's fine. I can survive, right? I can have a loser because my reward to risk to reward is in line. My overall strategy is following a plan, and I've got everything laid out, ready to go. So stick to the plan, build a plan, believe in the plan, love the plan, keep the plan simple, and focus on making money, cutting off your losers, and staying alive. The longer that you can stay alive in this game, the better, my friends. Stick to the plan, create a plan. A lot of traders, they don't even have a plan. They really don't. A lot of traders, when they first start trading, they have no plan. So you got to get a plan. And now hopefully, you know, watching all this videos and talking about all this stuff, you're going to be able to build a plan for yourself.